Hi guys, I am going to chime in on the Mandela Effect, or some people would just want to call it the effect. This is kind of strange occurrences that we've been having, and one of the things I wanted to point out was two things that does point to that there's something going on with a time shifting and as a whole. So it's not just for certain people. I believe there's a time shift that's going on, and some people are calling it the Mandela Effect. As you know, the Mandela Effect comes from the effect. It started when people had said they believed and have a memory that Mandela of Africa, a civil rights leader in Africa, had went to jail, supposed to be for life, 20 years to life, for essentially trying to get civil rights executed for the people in Africa. But the memory is that he died in jail for millions of people, or at least thousands are saying they remember him dying in jail. However, he did get out after 20 years, and he went to he campaigned for presidency, and he actually was president. And then he died in 1980, I believe it was. But the effect comes from people that they swear that, no, he died in prison. I myself remember him dying in prison, and also remember him being president. So I have two memories. So that's what the Mandela Effect comes from. And then there's also several things that people relate to the same type of effect. The first and most kind of a superficial thing was the Bernstein Bears children's book. Was Bernstein with the S-T-E-I-N, and now it is Bernstein Bears. And people were wondering when that shift happened. Lots of little things like that. Many things like that. But one of my things that I noticed was there's a video on Otis Redding and how he died, and that he had essentially, long story short, he had wanted to start a separate recording company for black artists. And so essentially he was supposed to be beaten up because of that, because the powers that be did not want that. Same thing that happened to Prince as well. I'll do another video on that. But he was found in the river, beaten up, and here's a photo. We have a photo here of him being supposedly fished out of the river. But I remember years ago, my mother had told me that Otis Redding, what was so weird about his death is that he died in a plane crash, and we do have a film on it. And the film, the caption says, one moment here, it says that he died in a plane crash in Monona Lake in Wisconsin. Let's see here. December 10th, 1967, Lake Monona, Wisconsin. The crash killed 6 others, everyone on board except for trumpeter Ben Colley. Avoided the flight altogether, but he didn't die. But everyone else in the band had died, including Otis Redding. And that was at, again, Lake Monona. Here you see a photo of, which is really strange. If you look at the photo, it's very strange. He's still strapped in his seat from the airplane. Why would they take it with him laying down? That seems so undignified, but that was strange. But besides the point, the report was that he had, like I said, my mom told me that what was really eerie about the story was that he wrote Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. You know, he sung that song. And when they found his body, reportedly, he was sitting straight up, had floated towards the dock, and was actually sitting at a dock, dead, at a dock on a bay. So my mom thought that was a really eerie story, and that's the story she told me. So recently I just heard the story of him being beaten and fished out of the river. Well, here's the picture. So you have to kind of picture what happened. Those are two different photos, two different stories. And so is that a Mandela effect, a glitch in the programming? This is my position on it, which may or may not be true, but this is what I'm thinking, just doing a little research, is that there is a programming and there is a glitch, but they purposely changed. It's not really a glitch, they purposely changed it, and the glitch is that we found out. That's the glitch part. I think at that time when Otis Redding was actually beat up and thrown in the river, they didn't want that story to come out. So, and the reason why is because at that time there's a bunch of riots in the 1960s. The nation was a powder keg of race riots. And let's see here. I can read you. In Hugh riots were race riots. It was Cleveland, Ohio, and predominantly African American community of Hugh. Took place over a 6-night period from July 18th to July 23rd, 1966. During the riots, that particular riot, four African Americans were killed and 30 people were critically injured. In addition, there were 275 arrests, while more than 250 fires were reported. So there's a lot of race riots going on. And on July 18, 1966, someone passed a sign at a bar. Supposedly they couldn't get served as being African Americans. That led to another race riot. And things like that were happening all over the country. As well, Martin Luther King, I believe, was also assassinated around the same period. So I think, this is my take on it, that there is a system that can change or turn time back, rewrite it, and wind it and let it go. At that time, had people heard that Otis Redding had been murdered, beaten, and thrown in the river, at that time it wasn't the right time to hear that. Otis Redding was very loved. He was very popular African American singer, and to hear that, I'm thinking to hear that at that time would have been an extreme, another powder keg blown off, with the riots and everything. So rather than have that happen, which it did happen, I believe that what they did was went back, changed the time, the programming, to rewrite the story that he died in an airplane crash. Because clearly, two stories, two evolving events, two errors are trying to compete at this time to say that this happened or that happened. And I believe that even the Mandela Effect itself is exactly what I said. The programming is, the only glitch in it is that we're noticing it. Not that it's a glitch that it's a mistake that it happened. It's a glitch in it that we know. I believe, as far as Mandela, there was an extreme race riot that happened. I believe a lot of people were killed. They had to rewrite this. So they went back, turned it back, let him out of jail, and he ran for presidency. I know it sounds far-fetched, but if you look at the Mandela Effect itself, what many people are attributing to memories being one way for sure in their mind, and history saying it's not. It's no more far-fetched than that. But I believe it's a little more than what people are thinking, that there's a glitch in the system and that they forgot to change Bernstein, take all the information out for the Bernstein and put Bernstein because they had to go back and somehow change it, and that was included in the change. I believe that that's exactly what happened with a lot of these things. They had to go back, change, rewrite history, and this is why we're having these contradictory memories, and a lot of the people are swearing that they know this certain thing was named and done that way. There's little things like they're superficial to me, but if you add them all up, it means a lot. Such as in Forrest Gump, the line does not say now life is like a box of chocolates. It says life was like a box of chocolates, which does not make sense. But supposedly when you play the movie now, if you were to get the version of Forrest Gump, it says like what life was like a box of chocolates. Things like that. The movie with, I can't think of the star, but Field of Dreams. And in the movie, the famous line that kind of predicates the whole movie about this farmer making his field a baseball place to play baseball. The famous line was, "If you build it, they will come." That's what I remember. But if you play the movie back, supposedly it says, "If you build it, he would come." But who's the he? It doesn't make sense. So something is, and what significance would it have to have such a small thing like he and them in that movie? I don't know. We don't know what small change would make in history. Somebody may have decided to drive one day, and as opposed to staying home that day, which they started to, and that could have set up a change of events. So very small things do make a big difference in the scheme of things, as a course of how things go. So that's just one thing. Another thing I'd like to add is, if you remember Karate Kid. Now, the first Karate Kid movie was, I'm just going to, long story short, everybody knows the Karate Kid, the first one. The dojo, the big blonde guy, who was also the leader of the bully pack, the kids that used to beat up the Karate Kid. In the end of the movie, what I remember was after they won the tournament, the dojo of the bad kids was so mad that he won. He went after the Chinese man. Forgive me, I forget the names. And he got the best of him. Somehow the dojo ended up on his knees, and he raised his hand up over his head and was going to smash the dojo in the nose, because as you know, he's shorter. The Oriental man is shorter. So rather than hit him while the dojo was on his knees looking up at him because he got the best of him, he just put his finger on his nose and just did kind of a sound like he could have punched him, and he didn't, and walked away. Well, now if you watch Karate Kid, what you're seeing is actually that never happened. There's no dojo on the end of the movie on his knees. They have taken that part out somehow, and I'm sure some people remember it and some people don't. But the fact of the matter is, it did happen. I remember it happening in the movie. And now if you get the movie, because I remember I bought the movie and I was waiting, so this is a good part where he's going to put him on his knees, and scare him and things, going to punch him in the face. And it didn't happen. That part is totally not there. And with that, it may not be so much as a programming glitch. It could be that my thinking, because, I think race plays a big deal in everything as they planned it to be. It's an illusion, but it is what it is. That they did not want this Oriental man having this blonde, big white guy on his knees and this Chinese man over him. It just didn't look good for the movie. So, and a lot of people maybe protested, So that maybe they changed it for that. Maybe not. So those are my thoughts on that. That there is a mechanism that can change time or our sense of reality and rewrite it if things are not as what may have been planned, or which would turn out more horrific, or those kind of things. One more thing was the Tiananmen Square, where everybody remember the famous picture of the person standing in front of the tank. This is in China, in Tiananmen Square, so look that up. and supposedly it was someone in front of the tank. Well, I remember, and lots of people remember, he wasn't killed. It did stop the tank. Well, a lot of people says no. There's films on it that guy was ran over and showed the smashed body and everything. So things like that, you kind of question what really happened. But I do believe there's something going on as far as what is able to be done as a whole. And I think that we are living in an age where we're finding out the veil is being taken down, and we're finding out things are being changed or rewritten. And so just be aware of that, and you should spread the word and don't doubt yourself. The more we know, perhaps you can control some of these things. I'm not sure. Okay, peace.